All right, Jared, since you proposed it via text, why don't you put it on the table what we're doing here?
Yeah. So, I mean, as our things always do, it's the whole premise of this segment has basically been turned upside down.
Our listeners don't have to
We
know
already talked
that,
about
you know.
God.
They don't
Apparently,
have to
this
know
text wasn't
that.
clear. We don't got to rehash it, but sounds like we're all going to have a few different lists. So I guess we're all kind of doing our own sort of segment or our own sort of draft here. But basically, what the idea was is historical events, whether they're sports, whether they're pop culture, whether they're historical, political, whatever, throughout. What I meant, I think, Ted, you took it as your lifetime. I meant it as all of human history. Basically, pick your favorite moments, your top three, and let's compare. And let's see who comes with the best list. So,
Okay.
So if you wanted to, you could go all the way back to Moses parting the Red Sea if you wanted to.
Well, I was going to say
thought.
I'd have to rethink my list, and I'd go maybe I'd want to sit at the Last Supper. You know,
right.
Yeah. See, I had that exact thought, but I thought that was kind of a lame answer. So those ideas across my mind. I didn't think of the Last Supper. I wasn't sure. I was going to do something Jesus related, but I wasn't sure. But Last Supper, you're right. That's probably the number one thing to pick.
Okay, but I'm not going to say it because it's not on my list.
Go ahead and start. You can go ahead and have the first pick, and then I'll have the last pick. I'll go twice.
We'll see how I stack up in your judgment here. I'm going to say I would have loved to have been on the Zero Dark 30 mission getting bin Laden.
Would you want to be like an active soldier, or would you want to just be like a fly on the wall type of thing?
No, well, if I'm going to be there, I better
think it has
be
to be fly on the wall. Yeah,
fly on the wall.
I think is at least Otherwise, I mean, we could basically the events you could pick would be like, I don't know, curing cancer or something like that.
Yeah, well, but think about that. If you are a fly on the wall for that, you know, and actually seeing that go down, and then seeing him gather up all his stuff, get back on that helicopter, take him out to sea, do the burial. I mean, that's a pretty historical event that would have been kind of interesting to be a part of.
And just to see how it all, like the tactical part of it, you know, I mean, those are the best of the best in the world, you know, doing that. It would be pretty impressive. It's not just a bunch of high schoolers playing Call of Duty on PS4 or whatever, but I hadn't thought about that. So not to harp on Jared, because this was my choice. I just went sports because I started thinking of historical, political, music. There's concerts that I would say there's, like I said, political stuff or, you know, really, really deep historical. And I was like, man, I could spend an hour making this list. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to pick, 3 or 4 or 5 sporting events. The one that's really cliche that, I put on there, Miracle on Ice. Everyone says that when you're saying like best sporting events ever, best sporting moments ever was, the Miracle on Ice, U.S. beating the USSR in hockey in the Olympics. But I think I would say that because I don't even, we've seen the stories, we've seen the 30 for 30s and all the documentaries and stuff, but to actually be there and witness that amongst the crowd, the energy at that Olympics with everything going on, I think that would be something that'd be pretty cool to witness.
Legit.
That's one of those events that people are like, it's like, you're right. Like when you think of number one sporting event to go to, it's that. For whatever reason, when it's like, I guess I didn't live in that time. Like I hear stories about my dad's basketball game. They're announcing it like just game. It was that big of a deal that they beat the Russians. I don't understand. It's like, I didn't know people cared that much about hockey. I guess is my first comment. Why, Ted, was it such a big deal back in that time? Is it because of the fall over Russia and the United States, basically? I just don't totally get it.
Yeah, it was a combination of things. First of all, Russia, for the most part, always had professional players on their team, even though they would say they were so-called amateurs. The Americans just weren't ever known as a powerhouse, even though they did win it, I think, in 1960. But it all stems in politics, man. It's Russia against the USA. That's all. That's what it all comes down to. I mean, look at right now. It's not like we're the closest of friendly neighbors to Russia and Putin. So that's where it all came from.
I mean, that's what Rocky IV is all about. So,
So speaking of United States and American pride, my number one, as you could tell, just way off the grid from where you guys went. Constitution of the United States, the creation of it. I would love to be in that room with the founding fathers as they came up with really, for the time, and still kind of pretty much holds up today, a pretty incredible way to run a government, run a country. So I would have loved to have seen how they went back and forth, how they came up with a lot of those ideas, a lot of the rules, a lot of the laws that we have. And obviously, I mean, I'm a fly on the wall, but I'm going to find a way to sign that document. I don't know how, but I would find some way.
On it.
Easter egg. Nobody would ever even know it was me. I wouldn't be able to explain it. I can't time travel. Somewhere, some way, I'm putting my name on that, on the Constitution.
You know, that's a good one, especially, I don't know if you've been to Philadelphia, but I've actually been to Constitution Hall and been right in the room where they put the Declaration of Independence together. And, you know, you can see right where all the famous people sat, like Franklin and Jefferson. And it really gets you as a big part of American history. So that's a good one.
That is pretty cool.
The thing that I kept going back and forth on in my brain was like, when you think of World War II, World War I, it's like,
right,
the big moments. Do I want to be sitting there watching a battle unfold? Like, I'll probably be scarred for my life. So a lot of this was kind of, maybe things I want to see, but you also don't want to see. So I kind of stayed away from some of those battles. This was what I was actually pretty impressed with, something I've thought about a lot. Honestly, since I saw the movie Cars way back in 2006 in theaters when I was 7 years old. So obviously the highway system came about and basically got rid of Route 66. Essentially, from my research, Route 66 was done away with or basically rendered useless in 1985. So what I want, the very last day before they opened up the highway system that basically made Route 66 useless, I want to take that cruise. I mean, Uncle Ted, tell me you're not right there with it. You love a nice little drive. You used to cruise the pits back in the day. One magical drive. I think it goes from Chicago to LA. Just 1985 and United States, me in the open road. Nothing sounds more magical than that. So I wish I could have experienced Route 66 in its prime. Yeah,
the original one, that's a good call. You still can do the Route 66. I know people that have done it. It's a little bit off the beaten track, but it's not completely eliminated. So you can still do that.
But it's almost a different vibe, though. Now everything's abandoned. Yeah. I'm going through Radiator Springs. It's depressing.
That's true.
It's not. That's the only complaint with that. But I'm with you. It definitely would be worth. I would drive on it for an hour just to say I did it. So I'm with you. Not a bad thought.
It'd also be the fact that going back then, doing it, while you're listening to 8 tracks, no social media, no cell phones. Right. So I mean, you're just windows down. You're, like you said, you're just enjoying the drive. You're not on your phone, or you're not trying to find a top 200 songs on 1980s 80s on 8 like Ted does when he's driving. You're just enjoying the drive. Like that would be pretty cool.
Pick up a hitchhiker too. I mean, honestly, it's kind of surprising, Ted, you never found your way on Route 66 one way or another in your past. Maybe you took a left turn here or there with your hitchhiking buddy that was driving you along and you found yourself on Route 66.
Yeah, I pretty much kept it simple, either from St. John's to Mount Pleasant or from Corunna to Vernon. That was my hitchhiking. But that would have been cool in the day, though. It really would have been.
Keep to what you know. I mean, we might. The rest is history. We might not know Ted Patel as he is now if he would have hitchhiked on Route 66. But I'm going to go with that. So, I mean, again, I was thinking of same thing. I was thinking of war, like all the historical stuff. Would you want to be there on D-Day? But no, I don't know if that's really something you'd want to like witness, or like some of the Gettysburg, some of these other.
Yeah, I thought of that.
The historical events in U.S. history. But would you actually want to witness them? That I don't know. MLK's "I Have a Dream" speech obviously is probably top of the list.
Yep.
Some of the assassinations, like would you want to be a fly on the wall at JFK's assassination? Some of that stuff. But do you want to see it happen? That's a whole different discussion.
Not to give away big, but the JFK one, I thought the same thing. For whatever reason, that one I feel like we're like desensitized to it. Where we've seen the video so much. If I was there, I don't think I would be rattled by it. But who knows? That was my thought, though.
Yeah, like if you're a fly on the wall, you'd be sitting right behind Oswald as he's zeroing in, right?
Exactly. The other thing that I thought about with it that takes this discussion even further would be, would we go into these events knowing what we know now, or would you transport back to them so you would be in 1985 driving down Route 66 and you have no idea what social media is or an iPod or any of that stuff, or you know what I mean? Because like if you went to JFK's assassination and you had never seen the video, or if you went to the Miracle on Ice and you were in that year knowing what the politics are and all that, it'd probably be very different than if I went back to the Miracle on Ice and I knew Al Michaels' historic call and stuff like that, then it'd be like, well, this isn't that cool, you know?
Interesting way to put it. Like you said, it would ruin it. Knowing what happened kind of ruins the Miracle on Ice. Not knowing the JFK thing also ruins that, because now you're terrified and you're just running for your life.
Right.
I don't know. That's an interesting point. I guess, I would say you know what's going on, but you get funny about it both ways.
So you're just there to witness it. So kind of the same thing. Because again, I stuck with sports. Any of Muhammad Ali's famous fights, the Rumble in the Jungle, Thrill of Manila, you know, any of Muhammad Ali's famous fights would be something, again, just pretty cool. I was really close. Some of Mike Tyson's, like Mike Tyson when Buster Douglas beat him, that would probably be pretty cool to be in the arena for that. But any of Muhammad Ali's would just, I can't imagine the aura of, you know, Muhammad Ali. And again, especially some of those big ones, you know, against George Foreman and Joe Frazier and stuff. I mean, I can't even imagine what that would be like to experience that stuff in person.
Yeah, like the iconic photo of all time of Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston.
Right.
I mean, that's a classic. That would have been a good one to be a part of.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm going to keep mine on the historical level, and I'd like to be a fly on the wall at Mission Control in Houston when they had the moon landing in 1969, Apollo 11.
Yeah.
I think that was a moment in history that nobody knew. Are they really going to do this? Are they going to pull this off? Are they going to be able to come home, you know? And that was a very memorable time in history. And it'd been really cool to just be watching all the engineers in there, you know, just leap up in the air like they're at a sporting event, because success, touchdown, and they have a man on the moon. So that's my second one.
I mean,
that'd be pretty cool.
You weren't kissing somebody when they land on the moon in that room, then something went wrong. I don't, workplace, whatever.
Yes.
That's a party in there. Or are you at least like, I think it would be. I'm not sure though.
Right.
I mean, the best way that us normal people can, you know, maybe imagine what it was like. Honestly, Apollo 13, you know, Tom Hanks's movie.
Think about that. Yeah.
Did an amazing job. Like that, you are nervous watching that movie. You're on the edge of your seat. You're just like, ah. So, I mean, I can only imagine it was that times 100, you know, for the original moon landing.
So whose turn is it?
I think you got now you're again. Now you got your last pick.
One more.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go in the entertainment world on this one. I do have honorable mentions, but we can save that to wrap this thing up.
I'm gonna say if there's something that you don't say, I'm gonna be shocked. So go ahead. You said
really?
entertainment.
I'm already. I think we already know what. I'll be curious.
I'm intrigued because anyway, I went in entertainment. Okay. Yeah. I would like to be a fly on the wall backstage at the Ed Sullivan Show when the Beatles made their first appearance in 1964. I think that would be pretty cool.
That's not what I was thinking, but that would be definitely cool.
Okay, I had two thoughts. Matt, what were you guessing, Matt?
Like peak Freddie Mercury, Queen, backstage, you know, watching a
Live
Queen
Aid.
show.
Yeah, Beatles trumps that for me. The original Beatles. Yeah.
I thought that, or Woodstock. I was with you with the Queen
Woodstock.
thing. Kind of surprising, I guess. That you're not a big I know the Beatles' historical significance, but they're not your favorite, are they?
Well, here's how I look at it. My favorite band that I would want to go watch play in realistic time, because I did it, was Queen. That's my favorite band, but the greatest band of all time, hands down, no questions asked, as far as I'm concerned, the Beatles. They're the GOAT. There's no getting around it.
Especially like you said, that you always hear about the Ed Sullivan appearance or some of those other concerts. To see that hoopla and mania, it would be pretty cool to experience.
And I did have Woodstock honorable mention. The only thing that held me back from that was it still would have been hell to be there. It'd been awesome to see the band, but it would have been hell.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All good ones for sure. Again, there's a ton of concerts I was thinking of that's like, man, that'd be pretty cool. To even like experience, you know, this is a different level, but go to some of those parties with Motley Crue back in the day. Go to some of those parties with Ozzy Osbourne or Aerosmith, you know, back in the day. See what that was really like. But
maybe that'd be backstage.
Right. Maybe that'd be a fly on the wall situation. I don't know. But my last one, I had a couple other honorable mentions, but the one that I wanted to get on there that we all remember. It's not too historic, but now it's crazy. It's already like five years ago. Tiger Woods' Masters win in 2019. Yeah. We all watched it on TV, but I've heard people on podcasts or other shows or whatever who were there at Augusta for that talk about, because everyone knows you can't have your phones out right. when you're at the Masters, so you're just going off of the TV broadcast. But hearing people's firsthand account of watching him win that Masters in 2019 after everything he had been through, and Tiger Woods, I mean, that was like, everyone knows Tiger Woods' story, but how big he was through my childhood. It would be very cool to watch him sink that putt on 18 at Augusta and win another Masters. What, his fifth green jacket in 2019 after all the crap that he had been through and stuff. That's got to be one of the best sports moments ever.
100%. I think it's number one golf moment for sure, and just everything you laid out, how big of a star, everything you went through. It's that's a great pick. Sports pick. That definitely, if I went sports route, that's probably my top 3. So I'm lucky I didn't do that, because you probably would have stole it from me. So now it's back to me. I'll rattle my last one off here, and then I'll go through a couple honorable mentions. Like, part of me is wanting to pick pyramids, like how the pyramids were constructed, basically back to when those were being built.
It's
again, that might not be something I want to see.
Ted and his alien friends.
That's right.
Yeah, if it was aliens, or it might not be something you want to see, to be honest.
Right.
And that's kind of a basic. I'm gonna skip that. That's an honorable mention. I'm gonna go with this one. Is really out of the box. I'm actually pretty proud of this one, but it's honestly a incredible pick when you think about it. So 1940, the first McDonald's opened its doors. I would love to be in that line, first 10, 15 customers. That must have been the best burger and fries and a milkshake and a Coke that you've ever tasted. I mean, I've always been of the belief that McDonald's, I think if you had McDonald's sparingly, like it was Chick-fil-A, you would think it was the best burger and fries out there. Yeah, that's 100%. One of my hot takes, that people get overhate it because of how much you ate it. But just the whole story. I mean, the founder, all-time movie, Ray Kroc, that whole story, how he basically ripped it from the McDonald brothers and basically took the whole company for himself. But I would have loved to have been there when McDonald's opened its doors. And that first burger was served, and those fries had to have been immaculate.
Oh yeah, they're still good.
I think that's a good point, because we don't eat fast food all that much anymore, McDonald's especially. But when we do, it is like, man, this is really good.
Damn
and
good.
I think there for a while, people you ate it so much, you burned yourself out on it.
All right, I'll rattle through a few, my honorable mentions, and you guys can. We'll move on. All right, real quick, the Boston Tea Party. Just the amount of destruction those mother effers caused. I think I just would have. That's one I would not have wanted to been a fly in the wall for. I want to be in the destruction of that. 92,000 pounds, 340 chests of tea, just whipped overboard. I mean, basically the equivalent of, this doesn't even seem possible, $1,700,000 in today's money was basically thrown overboard. Just ultimate menaces to society. Just would have loved to have been a part of that one on that ship. So Boston Tea Party is one of mine. This is a weird one as well. The filming of The Dark Knight. I love that movie. I love the Batman trilogy. I mean, I've seen the movie 300 times. Better. Like, let me watch it get made. Let me see how the sausage is made. Obviously Heath Ledger, kind of his last. It would have been kind of a little bit eerie knowing what would have happened to him. But seeing him perform as Joker up close, and Christopher Nolan, the director, just in his bag, just making a masterpiece. I would love to have watched that live. It's similar vein, the building of Augusta golf course, kind of like we said, Matt, with Tiger winning Augusta. I want to be there when they're shaping this ground. Obviously, it's so different than what it looks like now, but just understanding, like, this is going to be the sweetest golf course ever made. Like, I want to see how they put that thing together. Moving on quickly, this one's easy. Oppenheimer, the first hydrogen bomb. If Josh Peck was able to be there in the movie, I want to be there for it. So I'm going to throw that one out there. VE Day, I think is what it's called. Basically, when World War II ended. Kind of similar vein to that. In Band of Brothers, they go through and they, like, basically read Hitler's, Eagle's Nest lair. I've always thought, man, how awesome would that have been to just go through, win the war. Now we're taking all Hitler's shit for ourselves.
That would have been
an all-time moment. And then that's it, man. Last one, I had JFK assassination. So what do you guys think? What other honorable mentions do you guys have?
I've got a sports related one. I had Woodstock, but I'm going to make this a two-parter. I would like to be a fly on the wall, or at these two events, Game 7 of the '68 World Series in St. Louis, and Game 5, Detroit, San Diego, '84. So that'd be an all-time dream to be a part of, and then just enjoy all the festivities, getting that victory in the D.
Right.
Did you not? You weren't in Detroit for the '84?
No, and as a matter of fact,
made a trip down there.
There was a side story. I should have probably. I was married and had
Yeah,
family things going on. But
Yep.
I did in those days. You could get in a lottery for tickets, and I might have told this story before. I actually got tickets for Game 7, but the deal was, if there was going to be a Game 7 to Detroit, the Cubs would have had to win in the National League. And I don't know if you remember or read about it. The Cubs won the first 2 games against San Diego, and then lost 3 straight to go to the World Series. So that cost me my hope, and I had face value tickets at Tiger Stadium for '84. So I made a copy of the tickets.
Series that would have been Tigers and Cubs. That's a bummer that didn't play out that way.
Oh, it was a bummer. The Cubs had a really good team that year too. Sandberg and some of the others. Yeah, they blew it against San Diego. So yeah, that would have been a good one to be a part of.
That would be cool. Yeah, some of those classic World Series or baseball moments. Lou Gehrig's famous speech would be cool to witness. Babe Ruth, did he actually call his shot? Actually be there and see that home run? Like, is that actually what happened? That'd be pretty cool to witness. Or any of Babe Ruth's big moments would be cool to witness. I also, one of my honorable mentions was the '04. The Red Sox coming back from down 0-3 to the Yankees.
Unreal.
Being at those stadiums for those games. I remember I was at Grand Valley. I was in college when that was happening. I was a freshman, whatever, it might have been my sophomore year. But anyway, I was young in college. So, we're off doing other stuff. But I definitely remember every party, everything we were doing. Those games were on, and we were watching those because it was like, this has never happened before. Not only is it Red Sox Yankees, no one's ever come back from 0-3, and the Red Sox are about to do it. Yeah, and there was the whole they hadn't won a World Series in 100 years or whatever it was, 80 years. So that'd be a pretty cool one. But
I'm with you, the Lou Gehrig. Yeah, the Lou Gehrig. I wish I would have picked it, to be honest. I don't know how I blanked on that one. I mean, especially with Lou Gehrig's day just happening a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
The thing that's always mind blowing to me, how he didn't. That was not a memorized speech. That was just off the dome. And it was like, you almost wonder, should this guy have been like the president of the United States instead of swinging a baseball bat? It's like the most well thought out, succinct, just powerful speech. It plays once a year, every year on Lou Gehrig's day, and for good reason. It's just the best speech maybe ever, man. So I wish I would have put that on my list. Just incredible.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good tie-in too. I love the fact that Major League Baseball participates in Lou Gehrig Day and keeps that ALS awareness out there. I know ESPN, one of the researchers at ESPN there I saw on social media and was out there, and she's battling through that disease and came up with the fist bump. And a lot of sports media and sports personalities are participating in it. And it's great to keep it out there. Somehow they got to come up with a cure. We're not going to get deep into that here, but man, they definitely got to do something. We were talking off air about how far things have come in cancer research, but I have no idea where they're at on ALS. It's just such a mysterious disease.
Yeah,
it is.